New declassified documents from the Durham report appear to show that Hillary Clinton approved a plan to smear Trump with the Russia collusion investigation. According to emails and memos leading up to the 2016 election, the Clinton campaign's then foreign policy advisor, Julianne Smith, constructed the plot. Quote, Julie says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire.
But I think it's evidence of the great depth that the deep state will go to cover up weaponization that was going on in the FBI and the executive branch of government generally under the Obama administration.
The memos also suggest that President Obama put pressure on FBI Director James Comey through former Attorney General Loretta Lynch to wrap up the probe into Clinton's use of a private email server.
What are you guys doing?
We're all gonna die.
You know what they say about the crazy ones?
Huh? What was that? I should kill everyone and escape? Sorry. The voices.
What the hell's wrong with you people?
We're bad guys. It's what we do. Hope you got insurance.
I always laugh at that. Why does it shouldn't work? It shouldn't work. Margot Robbie is a beautiful woman, and it shouldn't work that Hillary Clinton's face on her. But you know what? I gotta tell you, Harley Quinn is a crazy ass character, and that's probably how I think Hillary Clinton talks behind the scenes, and so that's maybe why it works so well. Because she just talks like she's just nuts, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Hillary Clinton can't be having a great day. You should be having a great day, though, because it is Free for All Friday today, August 1st. Welcome to August 2025. Kamala Harris crashes out live on Colbert. Was she drunk? Yes, most likely. We could prove it. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris not having a great time. Biden's role in the Donald Trump coup attempt has been revealed, along with a new smoking gun piece of evidence, as we expose Operation Mockingbird with Tulsi Gabbard yesterday. That went thermonuclear viral, made headlines around the world, and we couldn't ask for a better group of senators and members of Congress to talk about it with. The great senator from the state of Ohio, Bernie Moreno, will join us right off the top of the show, along with Representative Tim Burchett from the great state of Tennessee. Mr. Dadgum, get your dadgum emojis ready. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Hillary Clinton should have been more careful with how she used email. Should be a very important testament to you, making sure that your online privacy is secured. You should use Bunker today. Bunker can ensure your family is protected against cyber criminals and online perpetrators. This is an app that will help you do it today. It's built by experts with 25 years of experience in catching criminals and fighting cybercrime. Get Bunker today to make sure that your wedding photos, baby pictures, special memories, financial information, IDs, birth certificates, tax documents, wills, trusts, and insurance, and, well, maybe some private messages, maybe some emails about what your family's doing in Haiti. Yeah, you don't have that problem. Hillary Clinton should have used bunker.life/Benny is where you can go to get this plan. Bunker. Use the code Benny for 25% off your family plan. BUNKR.life/Benny. Use the code Benny for 25% off your plan today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Just a cautionary tale. Hillary Clinton. A cautionary tale for all of us. There is a cautionary tale that has been happening across the nation. And it's been something that we have been unashamed to talk about. And it happened quite alarmingly this week in multiple instances. We were on Chris Cuomo's show a night ago talking about how evil it is that CNN called a black terrorist who went in and killed a bunch of people a white man, even though they had a photo of him. There seems to be an endemic anti-white bias in the press and the media, and also shot through in law enforcement. It's why it was so frustrating when we watched a middle-aged white couple get targeted for assassination. It's attempted murder. is what we witnessed in the videos. We refuse to show them because they're so graphic and violent. You, of course, can open up any social media app and most likely find them. You certainly could this weekend. This happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, where, as far as we know, a couple that was attending or perhaps enjoying a jazz festival, music festival in downtown Cincinnati, was beaten within an inch of their lives. And now that we've seen the photos of the destruction that this mob wrought, we're left to ask ourselves, wait a second, where are the charges? Where's the accountability? Where's the justice? Is this like the George Floyd riots all over again? That's exactly how you get to this place. And what's important about it is that we don't create a zero trust society. You know, ultimately on this program, we're talking about like large scale goals here. We want to be able to trust our fellow Americans. We want to be able to have a functional country. This country is more than just tax chattel for a globalist empire. We are a nation. We're a nation with a history. We're a nation with a people. We're a nation with a past, and we're a nation with a future if we can protect it and save it. And our first guest, right off the top here, is the senator from Ohio. His name is Bernie Moreno. He's been inarguably the tip of the spear when it comes to demanding, well, justice here, actually. We're very proud to have him on the program, and we're going to jump right to it with the great senator from Ohio, Bernie Moreno. Here we go. Senator, I want to thank you for joining the program and for being so outspoken about this issue. I suppose in a world that is upside down, it is brave to be able to come out and say, wait a second, this looks like a hate crime. This looks like a targeting. This looks like violence against the people of Ohio. And and because it was a black mob attacking a white couple, some people are going to not want to touch it. It wasn't reported for days. There was a complete and total lack of coverage, but also a complete and total lack of an official response from the police forces in Cincinnati. It seems like there was like a third rail situation going on here with the remnants of a woke fever dream in our society. Anyway, you just blew right through it, and you have been a champion for speaking truth on this matter. And so I'd just like to give you the floor and ask, what is the update on what happened in Cincinnati?
Well, thank you, Benny. Thank you for doing that. As you mentioned, there's not one single national news media other than Fox News that's covered this story. So CNN, in fact, I flagged this story for Jake Tapper. He texted me back and said, thanks, I'll look into it. That was Sunday. They haven't given 1 second to this story. So let's recap what happened. So Holly, I'm not going to use her last name, from Southwest Ohio. It was Gabe, her friend's birthday. She's a single mom of a special needs child. It's been a long time since she's been out. As you know, when you're taking care of a special needs child as a single mom, you can imagine how difficult that is. She's about my age. It's called middle age. She's no spring chicken. They went out to dinner to celebrate. They had a great time. The minute as they were walking outside, they got tapped in the head, and then you saw the video which dissolved into this fight. Now, here's what Holly did. Nothing other than to try to break up the fight. Can you imagine punching and beating down to the point of unconsciousness a middle-aged woman? Imagine if that was your mom, or I think about it, if that was my wife. So she's laying down on the ground, completely knocked out. When I was talking to her, she was describing the event. She said she finally, got consciousness back, and she remembered saying to herself, so much blood. She just kept repeating that, so much blood all over her. Police officer came in, basically just looked at her. The police department is down 200 officers. They're completely demoralized because they won't actually punish criminals. I'll get back to that in a second. So she gets up, blood all over her. No ambulance. Nobody asked how she was doing. She called an Uber to get home, Benny. Called an Uber after beaten that almost basically within inches of her life. She thought she was dead. Gets home. Of course, it all hits her when the adrenaline wears off. Checks herself into the hospital. She's been in and out of the hospital now 3 times. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. Here's what the elected leaders, not trolls online. You and I know about trolls. I'm talking about elected leaders. Let's start at the top. The congressman for that area, Greg Landsman. He tweets about Ukraine, 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 and Ukraine. Zero commentary up until very last couple of days about the situation. The mayor, he went to a Misfit Mayors Conference in Cleveland and then took off for Canada. Hasn't been back to Cincinnati until last night. The vice mayor makes no comment up until last night. She says, basically, leave us alone. We got this. The governor offered, because they're down 200 police officers, to bring in more resources. She said, we don't need the governor telling us what to do. We don't need that help. Now, the mayor overrode that, and they took some limited support from the governor, by the way, for zero cost. So think about that. They turned that down. The city councilwoman, she's a beauty, Victoria Parks, she says they deserve that beating. Now, she posted it online. You think, it couldn't have been her. It had to be some shadow account. They reached out to her. She said, yes, I did say that, and I stand by those remarks. The county prosecutor had the criminal that beat her up on a gun charge. A judge named Mallory released that guy on $400 in bail. And that 2 weeks later, he almost takes Holly's life. This is the state of affairs. Now, it gets worse, Benny, and I'm going to give you the breaking news that just happened today. Now, because of course they don't want the narrative, because the narrative is pretty straightforward. You laid it out. I mean, the narrative is, very simple. I think about what I would do if that was my wife and that had happened. It's awful, horrifying, right? The police chief, who had previously blamed social media, issues a statement that her spokesperson issues a statement that Holly is a Russian national, because of course Russia, right? A Russian national that fled back to her home country. Holly is in tears in her home in Southwest Ohio, where she was born and raised, has never been to Russia, doesn't know anything about Russia, is an American citizen, but they're trying to disparage her, the victim, the woman who almost got murdered, by trying to say that somehow she's some Russian spy that's in America. And you can imagine, between the trauma of the event, the actual damage that she sustained neurologically, to then see, instead of the people rallying around her and helping her, where was the humanity, Benny? Where was the humanity of people saying, my God, look at this woman, we're going to take care of her? And then the leadership of the city is saying basically that she deserved it. Now a police spokesperson is saying that she's some sort of Russian national, and all these people are still in office. They're all getting paid by the taxpayer. And what I've said to the city is very simple, Benny. I'm going to go down there next week. I'm going to deliver them a letter. They're going to have 30 days to put together a plan to protect the civil rights of all their citizens, regardless of their race. And if they don't do that, I'm going to ask all the federal agencies to suspend federal funding of Cincinnati, which would kill me, because Cincinnati is a great city. I want to help Cincinnati, but we have to draw a line in the sand, Benny. We cannot let our cities be gone forever. We will not let these radicals take our cities. We deserve to have great American cities, and we have to draw a line in the sand here. So that's what's going on. It is absolutely infuriating, because again, that is not to be repetitive. I just think of myself. If that was me and my wife out to dinner, and somebody did that to my wife, I don't have words for what I would do.
You're telling me that the city is now attacking the single mother who's working class, Ohio native, as a Russian asset.
Yep. That's their narrative, right? Because they have the George Floyd narrative down pat. And by the way, imagine, so Jake Tapper, right, who knows about the story, flagged it for him, decides not to cover it at all. Could you imagine, just for a split second, Benny, if the races were reversed? Jake Tapper would be living in Cincinnati. He would be covering this story 24/7. The breaking news alerts would be on all the time. And can you imagine if somehow we said, oh, that person is some sort of criminal alien from some country like Haiti? They would slaughter us.
It's no use, Senator, playing these games because if we all are aware of what the reality would be if a bunch of young white men hunted down elderly black couples at a country music festival, and then everybody stood around and cheered and filmed it as the couples got beat within an inch of their lives. It would end the country as we know it.
Yep.
It would end the country. Every major city would burn. Every politician would be weeping and rending their garments on the floor of the House and the Senate. All of your colleagues would be wearing sackcloth and ashes, and we'd pass laws. I mean, they'd have to pass laws, right? They'd pass new laws. The entire world would stop. And so it is despicable. But luckily we get more views than Jake Tapper. So it's lucky for us. You're on a bigger show than Tapper's. So.
Well, and Benny,
this is why, Senator, sorry about the high horse here, But these people are frauds. And it makes me infuriated that they're doing this because it really is endemic anti-white hatred. We saw this week, Senator, CNN with a photo of a terrorist in New York City, a photograph of him with police scanners describing him as either Middle Eastern or Indian. He ended up being a black American, but nonetheless, they're describing him as everything other than white, calling him a white man. And what this does, Senator, is it puts a mark on the back of every white man in the building that he is terrorizing. It puts almost a death threat on them, because then the officers or somebody there would see them as the threat and maybe kill them. You could have increased the bloodshed that day because of CNN and because of their anti-white hatred. You could have actually really increased the number of people, the number of innocents dead that day, because they refused to report out the facts. It's a real problem in this country.
Well, and again, I would just ask you and your listeners to think about this from Holly's perspective. Beaten to an inch of her life, completely concussed. She's got a swollen a lump on the size of her, on her side of her head, the size of a grapefruit. You can imagine the fear, how she's reliving every moment. The punch. No woman gets punched like that. There's no woman that I've ever met outside of a professional boxing ring that gets punched like that. And then picks up the newspaper and says a Cincinnati police spokesperson said this Russian woman is back to her native country. And by the way, the New York Post, and believe me, I'm going to have words with them later today. The headline: Russian woman attacked in Cincinnati. Benny, come on. What are we doing here?
Is there any truth to that? There's no truth to that, you're saying? There's no truth to that?
Born and raised in Ohio. Born and raised in Ohio. Never been to Russia. Now, the dot of truth is that the friend that she was with happens to be a born in Russia and moved to the U.S. legally and became a citizen 20 years ago. So I was born in Colombia. So if somebody beats the crap out of me, it's Colombian national, beat to the living pulp by a mob. What does my nationality have to do with it? What does my race have to do? I got the crap beat out of me by a lawless mob. But you can see that Russian woman beat in viral Cincinnati brawl. She's not Russian. She's an American citizen. By the way, born and raised in Ohio, living in Ohio.
Wow.
Again, it's to change the subject. You see, it's let's cast doubt on the victim. She really had it coming to her, says Victoria Parks. And by the way, totally glosses over the fact that the guy who beat her to smithereens was out on $400 of bail. $400 bail he was out on.
How do you?
Because a judge who's a social warrior thinks that we should just be nicer to the criminals. And the vice mayor, we don't need the extra 200 cops. They're fine. Leave them alone. You talk to the Cincinnati head of the FOP there, a great man named Ken, and he'll tell you the police are so sick and tired of it. By the way, there's real ramifications, Benny. 2 conventions this week canceled that were going to come to Cincinnati, a business that's leaving the city because their employees are frightened to death. We have to take our cities back. And my point is, top to bottom, these guys get thrown out of office. We pay their salaries, Benny.
Yes.
The one thing that you pay their salaries to do is to protect you. And they're failing on the one core part of their job.
So this is, of course, why the federal government exists, in order to halt terrorism against American citizens, right, on a state level. And it's always been that way. And, there's a delicate balance. But this is why we immediately contacted, after seeing this story, Harmeet Dillon. And she's a friend of us, and we've worked with her closely. She's now in charge of civil rights at DOJ, and she responded instantly, saying, hey, listen, I'm going to be watching this very closely to see if the DOJ needs to step in here, if this is a civil rights violation, if an American was targeted because of their skin color, and if the local authorities are going to be woke and are going to do restorative justice and say that somehow the white people, were the problem because they happen to be standing in the wrong place, and not treat them like an actual human being with rights, then we're going to charge this. What's your take on this, Senator? Should this be charged as a hate crime?
Well, look, I don't know the facts to that level, and I think Harmeet's going to get to the bottom of it. I just care about Holly's perspective, which is she did nothing wrong at all. Yeah, she was trying to stop the fight. But look, Attorney General Pam Bondi's a dear friend. Kash Patel's a dear friend. Harmeet is all over this. They're investigating it. They're going to get to the bottom of it. Look, if Cincinnati needs to be put on a watch list in terms of having to restore civil rights in that community, it's an imperative. Look, it kills me. Look, my job is to drive economic development to Ohio, but I'm not going to gloss over or pretend nothing to see here. We got to get the facts out. We got to shine the daylight on it. Look, we've lost American cities. Chicago's lost. I used to love going to Chicago. I don't go to Chicago. I used to love New York City. My daughter and my two grandbabies and my son-in-law used to live in New York City. They've moved out of the city. We can't just give up and say these radical lunatics, well, they let them own our big cities. That's what Gotham looks like. And we can't let America get there. We need to reclaim them. And thank God we have President Trump in office, because a Biden Justice Department would probably arrest me for saying that this should be looked into. So we have a great administration. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to protect the citizens of Cincinnati. We're going to make Cincinnati a place that you can have a good life. We can go out to dinner and you can be protected and you have to worry. Holly said something to me that really shook me. She says, I will never enter the city limits of Cincinnati again in my life. I'd be too afraid.
How can we help Holly? Let's take a moment and focus on her, and then let's focus on how do we restore justice here. But this is an audience that loves to take action and is very much alive, and you can check the chat right now. I mean, they're popping off. They're probably talking about how you're the youngest looking grandfather they've ever seen. I didn't actually know that, Senator. So if we're going to talk about things on a personal level, why don't we talk about Holly on a personal level? Yeah. I've been trying to connect with her. I know Vivek pretty well. This is our first time speaking, but I know Vivek pretty well. And I was like, hey, connect me. You know, he put up a post that he had spoken with her. But it sounds like you're maybe even more connected. And so here's Vivek's post. He's one of the first people to champion Holly and you as well. And so huge credit to you, sir. How can we help her? Could you assist in like giving us some way? People want to reach out and like assist this poor woman.
She's not ready to talk to anybody because, again, you got to put yourself in her mindset.
But a fundraiser, we're not talking an interview.
No,
fundraiser. You know.
So I think just knowing that people have her back, knowing that people care about her. This story about her being a Russian agent devastated her. I was presiding over the Senate yesterday, listening to drool from the Democrats. Usually sometimes put my headphones on. I got a voicemail. It was Holly crying. I mean, the kind of voicemail you get from a woman that, you know, that there's something about the male gene that when you hear a female crying, it affects you somehow. And she was just frightened to death from this story line is, you know, what are people saying about me? And I'm texting her madly going, no, it's fine. Totally. People have your back. Just having people know that have her back, that they care about her makes a big difference. Benny, you covering this story, you're right. Your viewership is probably 10x Jake Tapper's. But look, here's
that was a lie.
Probably 20.
Can we do a GoFundMe for her? She has to have medical bills. It has to be pretty expensive. Could we help pay down her mortgage, or maybe her car payment? Like, could we do something like that?
Let me talk to her, Benny. I think let me talk to her. See what she really wants. Okay. Again,
let's do an official GoFundMe. Yeah. Who cares? Like, maybe she donates the money right to to her local church. But whatever. Like, let's show that she has support.
I will talk to her about it the minute I get off with you and let her know that you're going to do that. I know she'd really appreciate it. She just wants to know, look, again, I'll go back to where was the humanity on Friday night, Benny? If you and I, two buds, we're going to go out to a ball game and we're walking down the street, we see a guy beating the crap out of a woman. Will we take out our phone and film it? I don't care what would I would jump all over and get in that fight. And believe me, I'm not a guy that probably should do that. You'd probably have better success, but this is where.
Well, I'm not a grandpa yet.
Exactly. I have grandpa muscles.
My man. There's nothing like old man strength. Ooh, baby.
Exactly. You never
You'd be
know.
scared of those old men, right? Yeah.
Actually, Alex Brusovitz, asked him what happened when he challenged me in pickleball. I beat the crap out of him in pickleball. So,
I bet. No one deserves it more than Alex.
Exactly. Yeah. He actually gave up the sport as a result of the beatdown was so bad.
Yeah, all right. Well, there's some justice. What about justice for Cincinnati? So what happens next? So really quickly here, because we're up against a hard out, but really quickly here, Senator, we have this this Titich, Chief Titich, I think I'm saying that correctly, who's out blaming social media, talking about this, who is I guess slow rolling the charges, who slow rolled talking about it, who called the entire night a major success. And that's not how media works. Apparently, she's being sued by her officers for being a DEI hire, for only promoting DEI candidates.
Yep.
Seems like a real problem, real endemic problem in Cincinnati. And as you have elucidated for us, here's the post, please. This is a city councilwoman who's cheering this on. City councilwoman saying, this is a great thing. Here's her post right here on the screen. We bring the receipts on this program. They begged for that beatdown. I'm grateful. That's what the city councilwoman is saying. Where's her, where's her charges from the DOJ? I mean, that's a hate that's a hate crime right there. Where's her charges? So what, I guess my question is, Senator, you have a pretty powerful position in the state. It's a red state. It's a state that votes for Trump by 20 points. You are the senator. What's going to happen? How do you see, carve up this whale for us? How do you see fixing this?
So we're going to go down to Cincinnati next week unless we're here doing President Trump's nominees, which we probably should be doing that. It's a different story. But when next available time I have, I'm going to go down to Cincinnati. They're receiving a letter as I speak. They have 30 days to put together this plan, and it's going to be a transparent plan. I'm going to publish it for all to see to make certain that it is a plan that actually makes sense of real change, Benny. I don't want a BS plan, something that's like virtue signaling, some fancy words. I'm talking a real plan. How do we get back up to full staffing? How do we get merit back in place in the police department? How do we get these city council people to understand the moral clarity that they need to understand? And if they have a good plan, which I hope and pray they do, then we're good to go. We'll execute on that plan and we'll monitor it along the way. Failure is a convening of all federal agencies in which I will ask the President of the United States to absolutely suspend federal funding for the city of Cincinnati and cripple the place so that the citizens rise up and replace their leaders. It's the only tool I have, Benny. It's the only tool I can use. I don't want to use it, just to be clear. I do not want to harm Cincinnati, but we will not sweep this under the rug and pretend it didn't happen and then have some other Hawley get the crap beat out of her, maybe even die. I'm not going to let that happen.
No, of course not, because this was attempted murder. They hit that man in the head. The man, I don't know his identity, but they hit that man in the head 28 times. He was hit in the head 28 times. That's attempted murder. They're trying to kill him. They bashed his head up against the cement. That's what they were doing. And then Hawley, I mean, again, he just got clogged. I mean, we put up the photos. You shared the photos, so we assume that we assume that you can put them up. Like this woman was nearly murdered. When you punch someone and they fall against the concrete like that, that's attempted murder, because that could kill you. When you knock out cold and your head hits the ground with the full force of gravity, that's how people get brain aneurysm and die. My wife's a trauma nurse, and she watched that video and she's like, that's how you die right there. Or how you live in a wheelchair the rest of your life and eat out of a tube.
Well, we also don't know what the long-term effects on her are going to be. We have no idea. This has not even been a week. We have no idea. And by the way, one of the bystanders said, lights out time for that. You know what? So this is not
demonic. It's demonic.
It's horrible. And again, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Cincinnati will not devolve into Gotham. Just won't let it happen. It's too great of a city, Benny. It's a great place. It's a great town. Amazing people, great companies. And we're going to get past all this, but it's going to take a lot of hard work. And ultimately, we just got to replace all these idiots. I think we can replace at least the congressman. I think we can replace the mayor. I think we can start getting some of the city council people replaced. Judges are elected in Hamilton County. So let's get some of these judges. $400 for a gun offense, and you put this lunatic back out on the street. I'm going to use my platform. I'm going to use my ability to raise funds for candidates to go replace these judges. The prosecutor is a complete dope. We used to have a really good prosecutor named Melissa Powers. That was a phenomenal. This would never have happened if she was still the prosecutor. So we're going to get these people out of office. I'm going to work on it, and we're going to make Cincinnati that shining city that it should be.
Very, very quickly here, I just want to end the way that we began. You began by complaining about Jake Tapper, and he deserves obviously the heat and the smoke. But it was actually independent media and independent influencers that brought this to the attention of the world. And Elon Musk shared it, and obviously members of the Trump administration have talked about it now. JD Vance was obviously in Ohio talking about it. But it is because of independent media that this story got shared. And I think that really speaks to the power of the ecosystem that we're building here. We're very proud of it.
Actually, Benny, it reminds me of when JD went up to East Palestine and actually filmed the video, and it got covered because they were trying to sweep that entire situation under the rug. What did that have in common?
Yep. Isn't that true? Boy, isn't that true? And then I think we've done good work for East Palestine. We've really brought that to the entire world knows about that now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not because of corporate media.
No.
Well, thank you, Senator, for being on. I'm going to follow up with you. I'm telling Kara right now, live on the stream, Kara, follow up with the senator. I know she's been in close contact, and we really appreciate your time and your generous time this morning. We want to do something for Holly. Please, let's get a give, send, go going for Holly today that is authorized by her and that is approved. And she can donate the money to her church if she wants to, for all I care. But everybody's got a mortgage. Everybody's got a car payment. And I know that she must have some pretty extreme medical bills right now. Yep. So I'd love to get that going, Senator.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm literally going to get on the phone with her right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Senator. Everybody follow the senator. He's right here on screen. There we go. Bernie Moreno. Godspeed.
Thank you, Benny.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a very important interview because it's going to show the power of this audience. Hopefully, and we'll see. You can't force people to do these kind of things, but I've been wanting to. I've been trying. I've been texting Vivek. I said, get me Holly. I want to get a hold. I know that she's going through a lot right now, but I want to do something nice for her. So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. Put your money where your mouth is. You want to show me where someone's priorities are? Show me their bank account. Show me your bank statement. Give me that bank statement. I'll show you where your heart is, in fact. And this is what Christ tells the young prince. Give up everything and follow me. Show me your bank statement, and I'll tell you what you actually care about. That's the number one way to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, in my bank statement, you would find a very, very slight diversification into gold because of my friends at Advantage Gold. I want to be wise with what God has given us. I want to be generous with what God has given us. If we can start the GoFundMe for Holly, then mark my words, I'll be talking to every one of these advertisers and being like, you better put in too. And I'll be the first one to donate. I'll be the first one to donate. Okay? And we'll see. We'll see if it starts. And if it starts, then boom, I'll be the first. Believe that. Ladies and gentlemen, we work hard. And I want to make sure that work is not in vain. I'm talking to you about gold for a long time. Advantage Gold sets me up, helps me out. Make sure that we are performing and maybe overperforming. Gold is a really nicely performing asset class, up 40% this year over year. You can legally move your IRA or 401k into physical gold and silver. You can avoid taxes and penalties using a little-known IRS-approved strategy. You can receive $10,000 in free gold and silver. My friends at Advantage Gold can set you up and help you out. Text Benny to 85545. That's Benny to 85545. Visit AdvantageGold.com to claim your free copy. There's no cost, just the truth. Data and message rates apply. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial or tax professional. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we have no? Okay. All right, still testing. The great Tim Burchett. Well, lucky for us, we have an opportunity to jump right in, shall we? Jumping right in to a very important story. A story about Robbie Mook. Who the hell's Robbie Mook? Robbie Mook is the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Somebody who was getting put on blast this morning by Dan Scavino. Dan Scavino up asking, hey, Robbie Mook, what did you know and when did you know it? The reason why this is important is because we have here an email from Robbie Mook. I misspoke. An email about Robbie Mook. This is Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. And this email is an email from George Soros's lawyer. His name is Leonard Bernardo. Oh yeah, he's the lawyer for the Open Society Foundation. Saying that Hillary Clinton has just approved the story that Trump and Russian hackers are working together to sabotage her campaign, to hack the DNC emails. Now, this is a really important date. July 27, 2016. That's when this was sent. I have a wild clip for you. That is really something else. From a day before. It helps to know your history. It helps to have an encyclopedic, autistic knowledge of the global ecosystem of news. And to remember clips like this. Here is 24 hours before this email was sent of Hillary Clinton approving the Russian hit job on Donald Trump to cover up, what does it say? To cover up for her own missing email right there. Cover up for her own missing emails. And look at this clip from the archives. CNN, Jake Tapper of all people, getting beat up on this show. Let's go.
I have to ask, what is the reaction of the Clinton campaign to these DNC leaked emails suggesting that top officials, including the CFO there, were actively discussing ways to hurt Bernie Sanders in the primaries?
Well, I think the DNC needs to look into this and take appropriate action, and I'm sure that they will. What's disturbing to us is that experts are telling us that Russian state actors broke into the DNC, stole these emails, and other experts are now saying that the Russians are releasing these emails for the purpose of actually helping Donald Trump. I don't think it's coincidental that these emails were released on the eve of our convention here. And that's disturbing. And I think we need to be concerned about that. I think we need to be concerned that we also saw last week at the Republican convention that Trump and his allies made changes to the Republican platform to make it more pro-Russian. And we saw him talking about how NATO shouldn't intervene to defend, necessarily should intervene to defend our Eastern European allies if they're attacked by Russia. So I think when you put all this together, it's a disturbing picture, and I think voters need to reflect on that.
What evidence is there that the Russians were behind this in terms of the hacking or in terms of the timing by WikiLeaks?
Well, we need to let the experts speak on this. It's been reported on in the press that the hackers that got into the DNC are very likely to be working in coordination with Russia. And again, I think if the Russians in fact had these emails, again, I don't think it's very coincidental that they're being released at this time to create maximum damage on Hillary Clinton and to help Donald Trump.
But it's a very, very strong charge that you're leveling here. You're basically suggesting that Russians hacked into the DNC and now are releasing these files through WikiLeaks to help elect Donald Trump.
Well, this isn't my assertion. There are a number of experts that are asserting this. I think we need to get to the bottom of these facts, but that is what experts are telling us. Experts have said that it is the Russians that in fact went in and took these emails, and then if they are the ones who took them, we have to infer that they are the ones then releasing them.
Would you look at that? Well, well, well. And now we're starting to see the money trail here. It looks like Tim Burchett will be with us. He will be joining us from the road, which is an exciting place to be joining. I'm just waiting for my producers to tell me that he's good, but just a warning. Producers, let me know when Burchett is good. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the funding of the Russiagate hoax. Where's Soros involved in all this? You know, George Soros is linked to all of this. This was his lawyer coordinating it. The Open Society Foundation is named multiple times in all of this. And we know that it cost millions and millions of dollars. Look at this reporting from the Federalist. Millions of dollars. DOJ official who approved a $2 million payout to disgraced Russian hoaxers identified as left-wing activist. You know, they paid millions of dollars to run this hoax against President Trump. They paid hundreds of millions by the time it was all wrapped up. Who funded it exactly? Who was behind it? Very interesting. Somebody who has no shame in ripping the bark off of the old rotted husk that is the DC establishment, and somebody that it's our great honor to have on the program today. It is Congressman Tim Burchett. Let's go. Congressman, how you doing? Looks like you got a little hitch in your giddy up there. Here you were kicked in the rib.
Yeah, I got a rib broke. It's kind of a crazy deal. You know, everybody's telling me, oh, don't you never get behind.
I'd love nothing else but to hear the Congressman. Klein, am I? No, it's not you. Yeah, okay. Congressman, I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude here, but we can't hear you. We just lost all audio. So we're going to, yeah, all right. We're going to try, let's try it one more time. It looks like it just reconnected. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, we apologize. We caught only half of that, but let's just move very quickly here into the George Soros connection and all of the Russiagate hoax. It seems to be perhaps the most alarming new information that we're learning right now. Would you be in favor of an investigation into George Soros, the Open Society Foundation, what they knew in the hacking of our election in 2016?
100%. Let's not write them a tough letter. Let's put their ass on the spot and pull them in. Let's subpoena them and get them in here right now. I'm sick of this stuff in Washington. We drag our feet, we talk tough, and then we continuously let our country down. And that's what happens. I mean, with Hillary and all that, you honestly think everybody's like, you need to put her in cuffs. Well, dadgummit, our leadership needs to do that. And our leadership needs to come forth with that type of message to the American public and let them know this activity is not going to be accepted. They attempted to overthrow our country, and it is. America knows it's happening, and let's get on with it.
So yes, you're exactly right. It turns out that the exact opposite of what we've learned over the last couple of years is true, that Hillary Clinton worked with the Russians to rig an election. That's where the Steele dossier came from. And that George Soros, a foreign-born billionaire who isn't an American, was either involved or perhaps funding the entire operation. Isn't that what they accuse Republicans of doing? Isn't it time to fight back?
Yeah, they always accuse us of doing what they're exactly doing. And Soros is a bad actor. We know that. We've known that forever. But Washington, D.C.'s addicted to the money, and that's all it is. You've got a bunch of dirtbags that are taking the money, that are involved with this thing, that think they're bigger than this country, and they sit behind and they laugh at us, and they're currently laughing at us right now. And we need full force go after them.
Full force go after them. So I mean, these are bombshell smoking gun documents. You could hear in real time the Hillary Clinton campaign trotting this out, rolling it out. The dates line up, everything's lining up just perfectly. And now the American public is going to be wanting to know, what happens next. So you're on a number of powerful committees. Yeah. I'm not sure how you want to carve up this whale. How would you do it, Congressman?
Well, oversight, of course, will have some say-so in judiciary, but I would warn people, we need to have a clear direction on this thing. We go off in 100 different directions, and that's exactly what they want us to do. Another shiny object on the hill, and we'll be chasing it and go off after that and go off after the next one, go after the next one. Our leadership needs to come up with a clear game plan and stop with all this complicated nonsense. America is ticked off. I'm ticked off. We need to get on with it. But that's what happens. They'll keep throwing it at us and keep throwing it at us, and it'll get lost in the minutia. And we're going to be worried about the national message. Who cares about the national media? The big is let's just be honest. Just like this in Cincinnati, that would have never, those guilty thugs would never be gone after if it hadn't been for folks like yourself in social media. Forget the national media. It is a lost cause. Let's go after it. Let's just do what's right and quit worrying about our polling and our ratings. And let's just do what's right and hang on to this one because it's the real deal. We need to go after them. They are bad actors, and we need to quit with all the nonsense.
I want to just Congressman, you're going in and out, so this will be our last question here, but I want to put up just the documentation from the Durham Annex that shows the Soros Foundation directly a part of the conversation. This conversation specifically included when and how the FBI would pour fuel on the fire of the Russiagate hoax. This is being centrally coordinated through George Soros's personal lawyer, which is a man named Leonard. What's his name? What's his name, guys? Leonard Bernardo. Okay, we're learning a number of new names, a number of new people here. I want to get it all right. There's Leonard Bernardo. So would you sign off on the subpoena today? I mean, would you be able to write this? We saw everyone move very quickly on Epstein. 100%. So would you write the subpoena today to get George Soros's ass in a chair? Like, what did you know about this?
100%, 100%. And good and well, he won't do it. But there's other people that'll squeal because they're looking at federal time. And that's the way you got to do it. You got to start just like we do with the mob or the drug dealers. You hit the lowest one, and then they'll squeal, and you go upstairs, and that's what we got to do.
So hopefully we'll see hopefully we'll see action on this today, or hopefully we'll see action on this at least soon. We'd be very disappointed, Congressman, if nothing happened. Boy, it would hurt the feelings of this audience if nobody did anything on this. So
100%.
So here's to hoping, and here's to a speedy recovery to you. I see that you may that seatbelt might be hurting the ribs right there. Is that what's going on? Yes. Sorry about that. Pretty impressive that you're still out on the road, though.
That's all right. I haven't. We're not missing anything. It's everybody says we're on vacation all month, but I work more when I'm at home than I can assure you in Washington D.C. Washington D.C. I just can't get used to those 2-hour work days.
All right. Well, Godspeed, Congressman, and obviously everybody follow the great Congressman Tim Burchett. He's probably somewhere in those hills, right there. And next time, be speedier on the skateboard.
Will do, brother. I'll make you one.
All right.
That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. You can do insider trading in Congress and nobody's going to stop you. But if I want to sell skateboards, I've got to get a lawyer involved with it now. So that's what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, since you brought it up just very quickly, is Pelosi scared right now? She's acting very scared. I couldn't believe Nancy Pelosi's meltdown on CNN. Did you see that?
Yeah, well, she's not even the worst offender. But yeah, I mean, if I had any money, I'd just follow her stock trades. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you know what we need to do. We need to put her in charge of Medicaid and Medicare. I think it would probably turn a profit.
Oh man, the Pelosi Act. Hopefully that'll get passed. That would be very good. Congressman, Congressman, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you joining us, even though you're on the road here, still working. And we just say thank you. We hope to see some action on this George Soros front, this open society. You want to really make headlines. You want to really, cause some. They're going to go after Elon. They're going to go after any person that ever donates to Republicans. It'd be really nice. It'd be really nice to see some action on this, because they're clearly liable in this hoax and in this criminal conspiracy. It's available in the documents.
100%.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Congressman. See ya. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's that. You know how it goes sometimes. You just let her rip. You just let her rip. There's obviously a way that you can follow Nancy Pelosi's stock trades. We've put it up on screen. We're not endorsing it, but there's an app that follows Nancy Pelosi's trades, as we were just talking about, and it shows that she's up 730% since 2014. That's 10 years, up 740%. It really makes you wonder. There it is, right down there on the little graph. How's that even possible? How's it even possible? Up, please. Let's go up on that's the one. Oh, what is that exactly? Oh, yeah, that's when Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House, and she was controlling what legislation was being passed and what wasn't. This is when Nancy Pelosi was the one in charge of which legislation, who will get bailouts, what industries will get bailouts. Nancy Pelosi was there writing the bills and then investing in the companies before they go public. It's been an absolute and total criminal operation. Donald Trump says it's time to investigate Nancy Pelosi, and I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want your investments to be managed properly and wisely, and not criminally like Nancy Pelosi, you're probably not Speaker of the House, but we don't mind if Mike Johnson's watching. No offense, Mike Johnson, if you are watching out there. But Allio Capital is what we invest with. It's an app. It's great. Uses AI to move in capital markets based on everything from interest rates to national and global events, follows sort of the news cycle, and it follows the trends that we try our best to follow on this program. But whew, boy, I got to tell you, it is a lot going on. It's a full-time job if you wanted to do this, and I can't. I have a full-time job. And so we trust Allio Capital and their Altitude AI. This is an AI that assists in the investment and adapts the portfolio in real time. Micro or macro, high risk or low risk, they got it for you. Download their app in the App Store or Google Play. Text my name Benny to 511-511. That's ALLIO Capital. Text Benny to 511-511. Download the app today. 511-511. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Past performance does not guarantee results, and consult with your financial professional before investment decisions. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Warren fell directly on her ass on the Senate floor. And we're not trying to be mean here. What's mean is Elizabeth Warren stealing money from indigenous people, right? Elizabeth Warren literally stole capital from indigenous people. She took their scholarships. She took what has to be hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, but hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships. She got scholarships. She got Indian scholarships. She stole those from actual Indians, and then she went to Harvard. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we think it's perfectly fair season to make fun of Elizabeth Warren's wounded knee. Here's what happened to Elizabeth Warren yesterday.
Senators voting in the affirmative: Baldwin, Blunt Rochester, Durbin, Heinrich, Hirono, Kane.
There were a lot of memes on this. Give me the Swalwell meme, will you? Give me the Swalwell one. Just too funny. You gotta end on a little. You gotta end the week on a little bit of levity. It's been a weighty and heavy week, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be also ending on some major breaking news that we're very happy to have been a part of. The conversation about Operation Mockingbird still being that's gripped the entire internet. Do we have the Swalwell meme? Yeah, there you go. Okay. I mean, listen, it's potty humor, but we're not above it. You know, I got little kids, and maybe you do too. Maybe you want little kids. Maybe you currently live in a fraternity. I'm not sure, but sorry if this offends you, but I thought this was hysterical.
Voting in the affirmative: Baldwin, Rochester.
Okay. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, and we were part of a pretty muscular news cycle over the last 24 hours. Our clip with Tulsi Gabbard has gone viral. It's the clip from yesterday's show, and we told you we were going to ask a question about Operation Mockingbird, or about like the press like continuing this insanity. And I got an example for you. I've actually loaded up an example for you. Klein, I got it right here.
Russian collusion. Russian sort of collusion.
Something that happens every couple of months. Sorry for playing that a little prematurely. Something that happens every couple of months is there's a supercut in my timeline of reporters saying the exact same thing in the exact same way, reading directly from a script. And it has to be a script because there's no way that this is a coincidence. Here's a good example, since we just happen to be talking about Russiagate. And we played you the Robbie Mook clip of them, like we caught them dead to rights, launching this hoax. We have the moment. We have the smoking gun. Republicans are not gonna let this one go. It would have been really nice to have done this in the first administration, because this is what they were doing. We needed to release these documents in the first administration. So frustrating. But anyway, this is what they were doing.
Trump, Putin, Russian collusion. Trump, Russian sort of collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian metal collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian potentially collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian possible collusion.
Trump, Russian collusion. Trump, Russian collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Russian hacked our election.
Here comes a big change. Because all of a sudden, Trump, Russian possible collusion, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian possible collusion.
Trump, Russian possible collusion. Trump, the Russians, collusion.
Collusion with the Russians. Trump, Russia possible collusion. Trump, Russia possible collusion. Prove collusion. Prove collusion.
Was there collusion?
Absolutely.
This is what we're doing. We're defeating this. These are a bunch of goblins. This is what we're doing. We are out on a rampage to defeat this. And I'll show you how we're doing it. First off, we're asking Tulsi Gabbard about Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird is a real thing. This is something that is available, for instance, in the CIA reading room. You can read all about Operation Mockingbird. You can read about how the CIA had hundreds of American journalists on their payroll here at companies like the New York Times, the Washington Post, Time Magazine, Newsweek. These are, of course, at the heights of Time Magazine and Newsweek's publication and readership. They're now just vapors of their old selves. CBS News, NBC News. The CIA has admitted to all of this. This was allegedly happening through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and so on. This was the CIA running ops inside of our own newsrooms and effectively just running the vectors of information. Like you could be like, oh, I'm a journalist, I'm going to work in a newsroom. And you're sitting there right next to a CIA agent, you have no idea. The CIA agent is producing news, commentary, writing columns, writing articles, affecting public opinion. This is how insane it all got. And nobody's ever asked about it. Nobody's ever asked anyone in power, somebody in charge of the CIA, about it. Like, did that operation end? And we were shocked at Tulsi Gabbard's response when we asked yesterday. Here we go. The media being used as a propaganda mechanism. We saw it flatly. I mean, I think it's the smoking gun, quite frankly, of the Obamagate narrative and the Russiagate narrative, that it was so baked in that the New York Times and Washington Post went and ran with it. Some would say that that's part of Operation Mockingbird. Some would say that that's part of what we learned in the Church Committee, that the intel agencies were using media outlets as their mouthpieces, and that those mouthpieces would parrot the official narrative. And I wanted to ask you, is this operation still going on? Are you aware of the intel agencies working directly with media outlets in order to push prescribed narratives that may or may not be true?
It's something that we've already had to deal with, Benny, within this administration, where there are people within the intelligence community who believe that their will is more important than the will of the American people, and will weaponize intelligence by leaking it to their friends within the mainstream media with the intent of undermining President Trump's agenda. It is not one that he hasn't already talked about in every rally and town hall that he did throughout the campaign. I don't even know how many there were, but President Trump is enacting the very thing he promised the American people he would do in this election. So people in the intelligence community, they may agree, they may disagree. That's not the point here. As intelligence professionals, as people who work in the national security space, in the intelligence community, they are required to fulfill their mandate to their oath to the Constitution of the United States, and to the President of the United States, who was duly elected by the American people. Those who leak intelligence to their friends in the mainstream media with the intent of undermining the president who was elected by the American people, none of these intelligence professionals were. They are subverting the will of the people and therefore undermining the Constitution.
It's wild that you're still having to deal with that. Call it what you will. But Operation Mockingbird, just incredible that they were just out with it, that they were using the media as government organs to push propaganda, and it's still happening today.
This is why what we're doing is so important, Benny, and this is why President Trump's mandate in this is really critical, is by exposing the truth, by exposing the bad actors within the intelligence community and in the political space, who are weaponizing intelligence to advance their own political interests, is so important to be able to turn the light on in places that have been dark for far too long, expose the truth, and drive accountability. That's the only way that we can actually shift this and begin the work to try to restore trust in the intelligence community.
Well, that went viral. It's been reported out by hundreds of sites. Here's one. Here's Gateway Pundit. I love Gateway Pundit. Operation Mockingbird 2.0. Tulsi Gabbard confirms that agencies are still using corrupt media to undermine Trump and push propaganda. Now, maybe this isn't like, the craziest part about this headline is the fact that it is still a headline here in 2025. I mean, again, we've known for a generation. The original Operation Mockingbird story broke in 1977. Carl Bernstein writing it, strangely, alone. So much to talk about that. We don't have the time. Bob Woodward and Bernstein, you know, the Watergate guys. We broke Watergate, right? Yeah. Who is Bob Woodward exactly? Bob Woodward, the reporter who broke the Watergate scandal. A reminder that Watergate, 5 of the 6 people who broke into the Watergate were on the payroll of the CIA, were working with the CIA. So they were feds. They were ops. They were spooks. They were sabotaging Richard Nixon, who, by every weight and measure, certainly by the data, was the single most popular and powerful Republican president in the history of our country. He won 49 states, won in a landslide unlike anything you've ever seen. They got him impeached. They kicked him out of office. He had more of a mandate than any Republican in my lifetime or yours. Bob Woodward, the investigative reporter, was an intel agent. Do you know this? That Bob Woodward worked in the Navy? He was a Navy intelligence officer. That's strange. He didn't go to reporter school? Was Bob Woodward part of Operation Mockingbird? Do you want to see the documents? Here, we got them for you. We'll never just like pop off. Here's the documents. Here's the CIA reading room right here. See that at the very top? Operation Mockingbird, Project Mockingbird. And you can go through the thousands of pages that are readily available of the CIA rigging your media. That's why we're so proud that members of the administration choose this show and this stream to hop on to share information with you. It's why we're so proud that we've been able to break this narrative and why everybody else is collapsing. Now listen, here's a guy. This is a good example. Here's a guy. This is the Colbert Show. Here's a clip. I'll show you just one more clip on this because I can't help myself. So Colbert is he's already been fired. He's just living inside of a ghost world right now, right? He's just serving out his contract, but he's already been fired. His show's already been canceled. He's already been publicly humiliated as being a mouthpiece organ for the state. And here for the intel agencies, and I can prove it. This is a wild clip. We just can't help ourselves but do a little bit of a touchdown dance on this. This is Clara Danes. Is that the name of this actress? Her name's Clara Danes, I'm pretty sure. Okay. She was on a show. It was a very prominent, very, very successful show called The Americans at the time. This clip is from a couple of years ago, but it was very popular. It was something that everyone was talking about. Clara Danes goes on Stephen Colbert's show. And Stephen Colbert asked this question about her as it pertains to her connection with the CIA. Now, it's not as ominous as you think, because on the show, The Americans, is kind of about, espionage and things like that. And so, it's just like a lighthearted chuckle, okay, the CIA is just like helping you understand your role and your character. And she says that she's been meeting with the CIA. And then she says something that Stephen Colbert shuts her down over in a panic. It's amazing. Watch this. Okay, I'm going to pause it there just to correct myself. Homeland, sorry, not The Americans. My apologies. I don't watch a lot of TV, and I haven't seen these shows. So, full disclosure, I don't watch TV. I don't. We do this show and this show. We focus on this show and this audience and making it great, and we don't watch these shows. But anyway, let's continue. So, what does she say here? She says that I'm working on a show. I work on a show that involves subterfuge and espionage, and we go to CIA spy camp where real spooks teach. A reminder: this is during this is the very tail end of Trump's first term. Okay, you got to set the date right on this clip. The very tail end of Trump's first term. This is what she's talking about. Listen to. Got him. What an evil, evil little bitch Stephen Colbert is. What a simp for power. What a boot-licking, window-sucking op Stephen Colbert is and has always been. What a crawling on his belly little snake. This rat. The rat. Nobody ever click another Stephen Colbert link, not like you already have. He's already been canceled. He's already been publicly humiliated. His show lost $40 million a year. He's a disgrace. But watch what he does there. There's one thing that you can't call Stephen Colbert and not like, and here's the thing you can't, he knows what he's doing, I suppose. He knows who his masters truly are. She says that the CIA was teaching them about how they hated Trump so much that they've now allied themselves completely with journalists to attack Trump. That's what she says. To her great credit, this actress, she just straight up tells the truth about their secret spy camp. And Colbert's reaction was to scream at her, to talk over her, which is, of course, incredibly rude. And we almost never do that on the program. I apologize every time I do it. I only do it in service of you in order to get to a point. And then completely Mockingbird. Listen, here's what I'll tell you. All I'll tell you is thank you. This show will throw haymakers. We will punch. We will yell until our voice cracks to get at the truth. We are not here in order to simp for power. We've asked very serious questions of very serious people. And it's the exact opposite. The reason why Colbert's getting canceled and our show has never done better. We're not trying to brag. We're just trying to say thank you. We work very hard on building trust with you. This is us versus the entire corporate media slate, every legacy media company. This was our show yesterday as we talked to Tulsi Gabbard about Operation Mockingbird, among many other topics. You can see us there versus every corporate media company on earth. NBC News, ABC News, Bloomberg. Geez, ABC News has nearly 20 million subs. And if you slide over, you can see that we're the only one people are watching. And so we're thankful for that. And not by a little, by like triple or quadruple. And we're not trying to brag. We are trying to simply say humbly that it is our job to, instead of what Stephen Colbert does there, which is to lick the boots of power and to silence his guests from telling the truth, we're here to establish the truth without fear or favor and do it for you because you are our boss. We work on your behalf and we're here to serve you. And we will be doing that in the coming weeks. We have a number of very big projects. We're going to be taking your demands that we go out and expose Jasmine Crockett. We're going to do that. We're going to expose Barack Obama's crumbling presidential library. Oh, we got something special cooking up. We may be flying some jets, potentially, next week. And we may be visiting the first government-run grocery store, since Zorhan Mandami is one of those guys who seems to be a bee in our bonnet. One of those guys that, like, I think we're on a path of destiny in order to crush Zorhan Mandami. I feel that. Him and AOC. And we can do that work. We're going to have a couple of days where we'll either have a show or we'll have a different style of show. Next week, we will be traveling. We'll be traveling for a couple of days. We're going to be delivering for you. And we're going to rock and roll. It's not about us showing. It's not about us bragging. It's about simply us believing in the truth, salt, light, and serving our audience. Humbly, we put our head down and we say, you are our bosses, and we will be there to serve you. As we travel next week, we will be bringing our Patriot Mobile devices with us, ladies and gentlemen. Patriot Mobile keeps us connected on the road. We're going to be crisscrossing the country all over the place. And, well, truth is, there's a lot of cell phone companies out there. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every single American and has for a very long time. Patriot Mobile has been a very long supporter of this program. They've been the backbone of a lot of the good work that we've done in the studio and out in the field. And that ain't going to change. Next week, again, we're going to be all over. We're going to be in some very rural places. Patriot Mobile will be with us because they're available on all three major wireless providers in this country. They're the only Christian conservative wireless provider in this country. And ladies and gentlemen, switching is easy. And it feels good because you're supporting the people who support you. Your First Amendment, Second Amendment. These are really important things, especially when it comes to chatting on the phone. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny and call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Benny to get a free month of service. Switch today, patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. All right, baby. Rocking and rolling. Ask Benny anything. Let's go. All right, here we go. From Evan. Can we get a flag with the Benny logo on it and your favorite Bible verse under it? Display. I'd like to display it at my workbench at work. Sure, Evan. We'd be happy to do that. My favorite Bible verse under it. Boy. Okay, I'm gonna have to think. I will think about that design and we'll preview it on Monday. We partner with an incredible American veteran and his awesome workshop here in order to produce the products that are in our store. We have a great Christmas line coming up. We've been planning this. We didn't plan our Christmas ornament last year. We're planning things this year. Okay, get ready. And it'll take us a second to get into development, but yes, absolutely, Evan. Why not? We'll send you the original. We'll send you the first version off the printer. Shannon says, I love that you're in the chat and heard us when we asked you to expose certain traitors, including Jasmine Crockett, which we are doing next week. Get excited. Ilhan Omar? Sure, why not? Maybe we'll have time to do it. We'll see with Ilhan Omar, but definitely Jasmine Crockett. Who do you think is the biggest threat? Maybe work your way down from there. Well, the chat, okay, so Shannon, the chat seems to love the idea of going after Jasmine Crockett. The chat really wants to go after Jasmine Crockett. But I'm going to jump here, Shannon, to yours and Ron Smith's question here about going after Ilhan Omar. Okay, I mean, we should. Maybe we can build in next week, travel to Minneapolis. Maybe we'll just be on the road all next week. I don't know. I mean, we're going to be in sort of that Midwest area. So maybe we'll just do it. Maybe we'll do it. The answer to both of these questions, and we'll go back to Shannon's question here, is yes. The reason that I would choose if I have to choose one, Crockett over Omar, is because Jasmine Crockett is the flavor of the week. Nobody's talking about Ilhan Omar running for president. I mean, please, make my day. But nobody's talking about that. Jasmine Crockett's polling for president. They're trying to make her the thing, just like AOC. So you're right, Shannon. Start at the top and work your way down. And right now, as far as the media ecosystem is concerned, Jasmine Crockett has more power than Ilhan Omar. That's a matter of fact. I think they know that Ilhan Omar is damaged goods. It's what happens when you marry your brother. I think that's in the Constitution. You're not allowed to do that and become president. There's a couple of things you can't have. You have to be a native-born American to become president. You can't marry your brother. I think that's in the rules, right? So we will absolutely go after Ilhan Omar. We'll travel up to Minneapolis and show the absolute hellscape that is. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be delivering truth. We'll be fighting for you across the nation. And we will be using the power that you give us by watching and tuning into this show for good. Hopefully, please follow my social media. I don't ever ask this, but hopefully we'll have a fundraiser up, like a Give, Send, Go for Holly. I want to help her out. It's on my heart. So we'll have that fundraiser up hopefully today. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you feel like it, head on over and subscribe to our RSS feed for our podcast. You can find it right here, this QR code. You can scan it, boom, right there on the screen. That helps us grow and keep growing so that we can be the single most dominant force in the digital space for the 2028 and 2026 presidential cycle. 2026, why not? Why not set the calendar a little early? All right, we keep blasting through. What did we think? We thought we'd be at 2 million subscribers by this time, last year. We keep blasting through, and that's all thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's all thanks to God who has a plan and the hard work of this team. And so we love this team very much. We're going to be working very, very hard for you. This is Team Never Quit. Everybody else. Yeah, Klein, you ever seen these creators, these people taking month-long, they're all announcing their month-long vacations. Yeah, we'll see you in October. And not us. Not us. We'll be on the road, and we'll be sending you updates, and we'll always be sending you verses of the day. And here's a good one to head into your weekend. Ephesians 5:11. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. What a fantastic verse. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. And you can see the fruits, the work of darkness. What is the work of darkness? I mean, we've been patting ourselves on the back. I want to say this. God has a plan, and we see ourselves simply as as spreading salt and light on this earth, and we're not trying to hype anything other than our love for you, our love for the chat, okay, and our love for you. But you can see here what unfruitful works look like. Unfruitful works, pretty obviously defined. What is the nature of Satan? Steal, kill, destroy. Steal from people, kill people, destroy people. It's not to ever grow. It's not to ever build. It's not to ever create. The darkness and evil, it is impossible for them to create. They can only destroy. So you can judge them by their fruits, is what Christ says. Have no fellowship with unfruitful works of darkness. You can see them by their fruit. Expose them. And that's what we do on this program. But we ourselves must always be humble and get down on your knees, as I do every single day, and pray. Put your head down and pray humbly and say, like, yo, Lord, make me fast and accurate and wise and strong. That's my prayer. And then we'll see. But we're so proud of this show being able to create and being able to continue to expose and to have news cycles that build on trust and faithfulness. And we just see we're going to constantly be tracking. We're constantly tracking and making sure that we're locked in. And ladies and gentlemen, we just want to say thank you once again. Have no fellowship with unfruitful works of darkness. Expose them. Thank you for helping us expose them on this program. Have a great weekend in this, the greatest country on earth. It's your boy Benny. And remember, in the end, we win. See ya.
Wearing number 1 for the Los Angeles Traffic today is 9-year-old Tommy Douglas. Tommy has lived most of his life in the hospital after being born with a potato for a heart and will undergo a heart transplant surgery next weekend. He's about as big of a traffic fan as they come, so in partnership with the Grant-A-Wish Foundation, both teams have agreed to come together and have Tommy run the first play of the game. And he got the handoff, and there he goes. Made a little cutback move, and it looks like he's going to go all the way. Look at him go. Wow. This is really one of those heartwarming moments in sports where you just... Oh! Oh, my God. That is not good.
All right, Ricky, let's get nasty.
Such a nasty one.
Sucker was moving, wasn't it?
Wild thing delivered.
You're the pup.
It's
give him a heater.
Because you'd be in jail.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal reads. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for number 1. Come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for number 1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.